cover him and then get him up again, and now he'll have a comeback. And we're following the formula instead of the rules, and that's the problem. Yeah.
But dude, like you watch some certain wrestling, right? And I watched like a match on NXT not long ago, and it was a triple threat match, and it was legit. You could see it was one person comes in, he does 3 spots, the other person feeds for him, then that person rolls out, then the next guy comes in, he hits 3 spots, and then he rolls out. You know what I mean? And then it goes into the finish. And it was like, it wasn't I felt like watching it wasn't a professional wrestling match. Watching it, to me, honestly, it was just like a display of moves. It looked good. It looked crisp. It looked entertaining. I'm not taking anything away from that. But I don't feel like it was a match. I feel like it was a training, like it was almost like a drill. If you know what I mean? And certain storytelling is missing in wrestling in general, not just in like our scene here, but I feel like wrestling across the world, storytelling is missing. And it's like there's promotions out there trying to do shock value stuff to get clickbait and to get eyes on their product. And you know what? I don't hate on that, because I find hey man, go out there and get as much eyes on your brand as possible. Do what you got to do. But I feel, there's a lot of old heads that turn around and criticize professional wrestling and go, oh, that's really bad. That's really shit. Well, does it get a reaction? Is it over? You know what I mean? Because I feel like if he gets
is
a
it
huge
making money,
exactly,
let's find a compromise.
Be good, right?
Yeah,
well, let's find a balance. Let's find a compromise here, right? Now, I'm saying all of this, and I've got my grappling, and I want to really go far with that, and I've got my pro wrestling that I've done for the last 10 years, right? And I've got the gimmick of this fucking ninja, right? And I've always lent very heavily into that. At the same time, I appreciate the stars like The Undertaker, the Kanes, the Mankinds, all this kind of stuff. So it's not that I'm against, the eccentric parts of professional wrestling, but I also really value the psychology and the storytelling of, really showing that you actually want to win, and in the matches where we have to obey the rule set, we have to pin or submit, and all that kind of stuff.
You're keeping it real.
Why can't we have both? This is what I'm saying, is why can't we have both? As long as we are telling the story that I'm trying to win and you're trying to win, and I'm not going to lose and you're not going to lose, and I'm going to do everything I can to win via the rules that are in place, especially when you start to, and that's just from a neutral standpoint. We might be not even baby faces or heels. We're just neutral. Yeah. Now, put it into the bait. Now add. So we've already added we've put the layer down of, okay, we want to win, right? Both competitors want to win. Now put the layer on top of that of a baby face and a heel. Well, hang on a second. Now the rule set matters so much more. Why? Because you can't cheat if there's no rules. Yes, we want to both win, but if you're not allowed to punch someone in the face with a closed fist, all of a sudden, if this heel now does it behind the referee's back to the babyface, he now has an advantage to win. And this babyface and everyone that loves that guy to death isn't really going to enjoy that, which makes the storytelling easy because you can now get heat and a payoff from that action alone of just the closed fist. But you're not going to ever have that payoff, heat, or action or reaction from the audience if it is not treated as such that the closed fist is illegal. But when you start punching, and this is why people say, oh, when they start planning everything and doing all this kind of stuff, and like what Vinnie was saying, we overcomplicate everything. This is where it all falls apart, because like what you were just saying, Piers, the moves, it just becomes a display of moves. It becomes a display of moves when you basically throw out every move that actually has a consequence out the window.
Okay, but Jordan, let me ask you this, and I'm not saying I disagree with you. I see merit to everything you're saying, but then if people want to watch that, why don't they just go and watch MMA or grappling or boxing or something where the rules are so clear cut, where it's like knock your opponent out, land more points. Like, this is supposed to be a bit of a spectacle and a bit of entertainment. Like I said, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Sure.
But I think the key to what you're saying is, yes, obey the rules. use the psychology, but you got to have a balance of the bullshit and the realism, and you got to meet somewhere in the middle.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%, especially the way that the business is today. I agree 110%. But we have to also split these two conversations up. In the first part, you asked, why aren't people watching MMA? Well, they are. It is way bigger than pro wrestling.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
You know, so those people are. Pro wrestling has lost so many audience members to boxing, to MMA, to grappling, especially now that grappling is becoming such a bigger sport in the grand scheme of things.
Everyone is doing it. Like
Everyone's
everybody.
now doing it. So they are watching that stuff. And now when we come over to this side, the reason why I now say, well, we need the balance over here is because there's nothing wrong with the extras and the extra entertainment and the extra everything, right? Clearly, that's why grappling is, loving the stuff that I'm doing right now.
Well, let me put it to you like this, bro. If boxing, for example, right? If boxing had no entertaining like characters at all, and you had guys going, well, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give one of the best fights that I can possibly do because, I'm a champion and I'm going to fight like a champion. And I know that this competitor's, he's going to be a mighty test for me. No, bro. You want the guy that's going to go out there and go, hey, man, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy when it's all said and done. I'm going to slap his wife on her ass and tell her to go make me a steak medium rare. And then I'm just the way I like it. And I'm going to sit down and hoe into that bitch. And then I'm going to be sitting there in the winner's circle. Let's go, baby. And then automatically fans are automatically going, what the fuck did he just say to that shit?
Yeah.
Like now I want to see this guy get his ass kicked or see if he can really live up to what he just said.
That's
Exactly.
the entertainment value. But that's what pro wrestling should be.
That's what pro wrestling should be. And pro wrestling always was that. You go back in time to Luthez, he was doing all that.
Oh, look, my philosophy as a heel is insult everybody. That's what you got to do. If you want to get heat, insult everyone. Doesn't matter, man, woman, child, everything in between. Fucking insult them. Get
my
your
point
heat.
is that it's not like pro wrestling evolved into this entertaining mic work. It always was there.
Yeah.
It was even there when pro wrestling was real as catch wrestling. My issue isn't that part of the entertainment. My issue is at what point did we actually stop looking to tell the story of winning and sacrifice it for just saying things, which in turn makes no sense because you're saying this and you're saying, oh, I'm going to fuck his wife. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to be the man. Well, how? You have to win.
Yeah. Well, dude, do you think like
you're not even showing us that you want to win? Why? Because you probably bumped the guy, and then with your bare hand picked him up, and then bumped him again, and then with your bare hand picked him up, and then bumped him again, and with your bare hand picked him up. Number one, you don't want to win, and number two, how the fuck are you picking up a grown ass man with your bare fucking hand? He's clearly helping you, therefore it's fake.
Well, that's the point. You talk about what they say, but I also look at it and I watch some wrestling, and I'm just like, how did that guy, if we were talking real, how would he get up? Like after that, like some of the things you see, and they're kicking out at 2, and you're like, come on, man, like that should be the end of the match, realistically. And then, oh yeah, but it was awesome, and it's like, yeah, for the fans, but when you watch it, you're like you're showing them the strings, like the puppet show. They can see